What's up, you guys? Welcome back. My name's Matt if you're new around here, and this is our abandoned church that we bought. We're hoping to put some apartments in. Right now I'm working on the foundation wall. I got one last section of bad foundation wall here. We're going to knock this thing out and form it up and pour it concrete. But what we need to do before I can get started with that is move this support beam. I have this temporary support beam in here. I want to move it down so it's not in the way here. It's kind of right on the edge of the next section. So I just want to move it over 2 or 3 feet there. And in order to do that, it's going to be a little hairy. I got to let these jack posts out, and we're going to try and let it down with come-alongs. I'm thinking the beam probably weighs about 800 pounds. It's not light. So got my buddy here to help me out with that, and nothing to it but to do it. Hey y'all, real quick, I just wanted to talk to you about a YouTuber that I've been watching for a while, and I recently started talking to him, and he seems like a really cool stand-up guy. His name is Hank Hamilton over at Hamiltonville Farms. The link's right up here to his channel. Me and him started talking, and he's going to give me a shout out, so I'm giving him a shout out. There's a lot of cool videos over on his channel. He does a lot of abandoned equipment, will it start videos. He's got tractor project. He tests out new tractor equipment and all kind of stuff like that. So me and him kind of get into a lot of the same stuff. So if you like my channel, you probably like his channel. And if you want to, just slide on over here and check it out. Link's up here in the corner, and if you don't see it up here, it's probably down below in the description. Anyway, that's all I got for now. Check him out. Tell him Diesel Creek sent you. I'll see you over there. All right, there we go. That's one. It's crazy. I think there's so much pressure on that side that it's not letting this side down all the way. This doesn't have much pressure on it. We'll see. Yeah, this is pretty high. Sketchy. Oh, another crisis successfully averted. We got the beam up here in place where I wanted it. Now we just got to slide our jacks back under it, put some tension on them. It went pretty smooth this time. Did a lot of our learning about it on the last time, and all right, so we're at the point now where we can start hammering on this wall and knocking it out of here. I am concerned about trying to start it from the inside. It's kind of tall. I think this is almost 10 foot tall to the top of the block. So working in here on a ladder or whatever, I don't like it. If something crazy were to happen, you got this beam right above you, I don't like it. This wall is bowed this way, And if I started just chiseling it here in the middle, I'm pretty sure that it's gonna like sit down and cave in this way. Hard to say. What I think I'm gonna do is go onto the outside with the ladder and start up in the upper corner there and just start working it down systematically. And yeah, that's about my best game plan so far. If the top of it were to come inward and hit the beam, probably a bad day. So we'll just do this slow and easy and try not to get killed in the process. All right, guys, as you can see, I got the top couple courses of block out here. That can allow this wall to move or hinge or whatever without interfering with the structure or my beam here. So what I'm going to try to do, I'm going to try to use a couple simple machines here and take advantage of this big crack and try to wedge this wall out. Because if I can keep it in one piece, it's a lot easier to get up out of the ditch with the machine. So, yeah, I think we might be able to make this work. Oh yeah, this is gonna work. Oh yeah, she's lifting. It's lifting. Something's happening. It wants to go. You guys still watching? Well, I'm about out of wedge here, so I got one last trick up my sleeve. Got this big old bar. I'm gonna try and tip it over with that. Ooh. So close. There it goes. We got her. Come on. How are you staying there? You guys see the angle that this thing's hanging on? I know it's a little snug between the two pores, but man, that ain't no joke there. There it goes. Hey, you guys see my hammer I lost down here in the block? When I was knocking out the first couple courses, I actually dropped that thing down inside the blocks. I said, well, I'll find it when I tear the wall down. Sure enough, there she is. Tell you what, if you're in the market for a camera for stuff like this, I do love the GoPros, but this is the Hero 7 white or silver. I think it's the white. Anyway, it's useless. This thing's always messing up. It's the cheap model. Don't really concern yourself with that one. I said that because I had that camera sitting outside, supposed to catch that shot as the wall thump outside. But no. Even though the red light was blinking when I walked away from it, it didn't catch any of it. Shoo doggy, I don't know how well you guys can tell, but I am just drenched. It has been so blessed humid out here lately, but I got that all cleaned out of here. I saved myself a lot of work this time. The last two sections I did here, I took the saw and I saw cut along the blocks first, and then knocked them out over the sledgehammer or the demo hammer. I still have to come in here with the demo hammer and chip off all the mortar from the foundation, but that only takes a couple minutes. That's pretty easy. And then I'll just sweep everything off the rest of the way and we'll be good to start forming this thing. Got to pull these plywood ends off these other two pours as well, so we'll see those for the first time. That's a thing of beauty right there, ain't it? Tickled to death with that. Almost like I knew what I was doing a little bit. All right, we're back down here in the basement on this wall. It's been a few days since I knocked this out. You guys saw the excavator pull all the rubble up there and everything. I flew this panel in just to cover up the hole for the night when I left that day. It's been a few days, like I said. I'm back. I gotta put that panel on here for real this time, get it centered and lined up plumb and everything. So we're gonna go ahead and start working on that, and then we'll pop the holes in our footer for our rebar, start cutting rebar, placing it in there, building a cage, and keep finishing the rest of the form out. But let's get going. So here's a little pro tip for you. I've covered this before on the channel, but I'll go back over it for those of you that may not have seen it. If you're going to be anchoring form work to concrete, usually just temporarily for this application, a great way to do it and save money so you're not wasting money on tap cons is with a nail and a piece of tie wire. Now this is just regular old coated tie wire that you use for like tying rebar together or a million other things. And this is a 16D nail. The D is the duplex, that way you can grab a hold of it and pull it back out later. And then you just take you a 3/16, I don't know if that's focusing, 3/16 drill bit here. We'll go ahead and drill our hole and I'll show you how it works. Now that we got our hole drilled right there, just go ahead and take your piece of tie wire, stick it down inside that hole, make sure it's going through into the concrete, shove it in there about as far as you can, then just bend it over out here, leaving a piece out here. Then you take your nail, stick it in the hole, drive her home. There's what it'll look like when you're done. And I'm telling you, you would not believe how strong that stinking thing is in there. I mean, when I go to take these out, a lot of times I can almost hang off of the hammer or the pry bar, whatever I'm pulling them out with. I mean, they are in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a few more of those in on this side and then a bunch more of them on that side, because this side here is only concrete halfway up because it's gonna be a window opening. So that part there, irrelevant. But I'm gonna anchor that good to the concrete here and we'll keep rolling. All right, we're back on the inside now. We got the hole plugged off with the form. Now I just finished laying out our rebar holes. You can see I'm gonna make a 18-inch square rebar grid out of 1/2-inch rebar. So we're gonna go ahead and start drilling those holes, and I'll blow them all out with the leaf blower and start cutting rebar. All right, time to start cutting our rebar for our rebar grid in the wall. Gonna use my chop saw. It's pretty loud. Okay, I took the leaf blower and I blew out all the holes a few times now, yesterday and this morning. And I got all my rebar cuts. We're gonna go ahead and get our rebar epoxy out. Epoxy our rebars, jam them in the old holes and let them cure, and then we'll start wiring up the rebar, getting everything nice and square and straight. I've already covered doing this twice now on these other two pours, so if you want to see that in detail, go check out those videos. But as for right now, I'm just going to kind of gloss over this so we can get done. Well, when I said I'd gloss it over, I didn't mean that much. I was supposed to do a time lapse there, but somebody forgot to hit record. So we jammed our rebar in the holes and we ended up with just enough epoxy too. And crisis averted here. I don't know if you guys can see this. This little tube here that comes off the end of the caulking gun, everything mixes in the tube here. There's 2-part epoxy in the tube and it comes into the tip and swirls around in there and mixes together. And if you don't have that tip, it's not going to work right. On like the 3rd hole, I snapped the stinking tip off of it right at the base, so it wasn't going to mix, and it was the only tip I had. So luckily, handyman's secret weapon, duct tape, came through for us. I wrapped it up real good, and it did the job, made it. So we got everything in there, and I'm going to wait about a half an hour or so for that to cure good enough to where I can start yanking on the rebars and stuff, and we'll get them all plumbed up and squared up and tied up. Also, after putting the rebar in, it showed my bad math skills, because apparently I calculated something wrong. I was calculating for a foot of overlap here, and it looks like we got closer to 2. So, oh well, more the better, right? Alrighty, there's our rebar grid. Turned out pretty good, I think. She's pretty square, she's pretty straight. Doesn't need to be perfect, but I got her pretty close. You know, these rebar sticks, when you get them, are usually kind of cattywampwards and bent around a little bit too from being handled, so hard to get them perfect, but I'm happy with it. Anyways, guys, that's the end of this video. The next time you guys are down here with me at the church, we're going to be finished this form and we're going to pour this thing solid. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button down below. And if you got a minute and want to see some other cool videos, don't forget to head over to Hamiltonville Farms, as I mentioned before. They got a lot of cool stuff. Tell them Diesel Creek sent you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.